Well, we've reached the end of our journey, but it's not about the journey. It's about the friends we made along the way. Welcome back to another episode of Cinestro. It's your boy, Blacksby. And today, we will be talking about The Last of Us, as well as Friendship from A24.
That's right.
An art house film about friendship between two men. Platonic friendship that gets escalated, but not in ways one would think.
Anyways, roll that shit.
Cinestro called the cast. It's your weekly gold mine. Stay tuned in. Stay tuned in. They got the beats, got those comic spins. I stay tuned in. Stay tuned.
Gotta love that song.
It's so good. You did great.
Great music.
Your vocals were awesome, bro.
Yeah,
Big
man.
tune. Big
Killed it.
tune.
That's me,
Love
renowned
that.
woman, Azrael Harrison.
Women on some days.
Let's not get into that. Let's not do that.
But you know, we can't get
Let's
into.
get into.
Speaking of fluid,
What are we talking about first?
What are we talking about first? So I know where this
We are
is.
talking about.
Because I got one for
being-
either.
Nah, you just do it.
you
I
pick
wanna
one.
see
Yeah,
what you
pick
do.
one. Pick
Yeah,
one.
Nike,
Pick one.
Nike. Just do
Let's-
it.
All right,
I'm gonna veto it
come on,
either way, but I
let's-
just-
all right,
See, I'm
well,
gonna
let's-
veto
guys,
your
guys,
shit
guys,
regardless.
guys, let's stop all this bickering, all right? We're all friends here, just like Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd in
That
the
was
movie
really good, dude.
Friendship.
Wow, that was
Pretty
beautiful.
The
man.
A24 film we are talking about today, and my God, the movie is exactly what it sounds like. You have Tim Robinson, who, for those of you who don't know, is like
Vehemently
Impractical
untalented.
Joker's prank was a person and just very autistic. Like he's just very fun,
No, he's he's got like an absurdist sense of
absurdist
humor.
comedy kind
I've
of
never
sense of humor.
seen someone
But basically,
yell so fucking
it's this
much.
very weird, socially
And I'm
recluse
African.
family man, played by Tim Robinson, who doesn't have any friends, and he establishes a friendship
God.
while delivering a package to his neighbor, Paul Rudd.
Who happens
And
to be a
through a
local
series of
meteorologist.
yeah,
My
who's a local
God.
meteorologist,
And
and
that's
they
important to the
develop
story.
they develop a friendship, but as the title implies, but because this is A24, it doesn't go as great as it normally should. And I want to first start off by saying,
put, AZ, beautifully put.
in spite of everything we're about to say happens in this movie, this is still one of the funniest things I've said in a while. Regardless of what we say happens in this movie, it is very funny.
Yep.
I agree.
Go forth. What do you guys
I thought I was
think?
gonna. A24 has made a lot of hits, and I wasn't going into this like expecting anything negative or bad. I saw it was marketed as a comedy, and the tagline is literally the funniest thing I've seen in my entire life. That was a bit of a stretch.
Men shouldn't have friends.
but it was funny. It was definitely funny. I laughed. Tim Robinson is chaotic. He's literally chaotic energy.
Yeah.
I thought
Bro
this
was
movie was
screaming
going to
for
be
90% of the film.
I thought this movie was going to be like written by Tim Robinson, but it's not. It's only starring.
Really?
Yeah. It's written and directed by a gentleman called Andrew DeYoung.
Right there in the tagline.
Andrew DeYoung man.
That was a really good one.
More like the young,
But that's-
more like the young OG.
Thank God
I
Luis didn't
think
like this movie.
this is.
Andrew DeYoung fella.
I think just compared to like what we were talking about, like something
You're
about
a
Lilo and
fucking
Stitch,
hater.
right?
You're a fucking hater.
Compared to what
My
we were talking
job.
about, like Lilo and Stitch, with A24, you get a certain caliber, and this movie, I think, is
I
very
mean, they have
wonderfully
some,
shot.
they have some bad
It's-
movies.
They have some bad movies, but I
That's
feel like
a bad
A24.
movie.
They released
I feel like even their poo poo, I still enjoy more than I would enjoy like some generic IP driven like slop, right?
There, yeah.
And this movie, it's not shot in some incredible like Wes Anderson way, right?
Thank
But
God.
it feels
You
very
said
it feels very
incredible?
plain.
No. Pause. You said incredible Wes Anderson way. Don't lie to me. I just watched the trailer for Phoenician Scheme twice today.
It's
I
like
don't ever want to
shit.
see any.
Looks
I
like
don't want to
dog
see it.
shit.
I don't want to see it.
Wes Anderson.
Anyway.
feel the gun
They're tired.
on the roof of your
I
mouth
mean-
and pull the trigger.
I mean, in the
Jesus
state,
Christ.
I didn't say that.
like a lot of
I did.
the shots feel like very like static, kind of like a play, right? Like
Yeah.
they're just framed in kind of isolation, kind of like how Wes does a lot of his shots. And I
Mhm.
really like how the lighting, especially in this movie, it's not like super crazy. It's not like you get like a Suspiria or some shit where the lighting or what's that one fucking horror movie with the
Yeah,
dance?
Dario Argento. This guy is not, of course, but
Yeah.
I
You
think
don't get something insane like that, but it is good. It does work well into the
I think
scene
I
and
think
the
what's
plot.
incredibly important about this movie is that I mean, I'll say it once and I'll say it again, and it's like they just don't make these kind of movies, right? Like mid-budget comedies for like adults aren't
Mhm.
what keeps the
Keeps the
box
lights
office
on, yeah.
afloat anymore, you know. So they don't prioritize them, and so to see that a studio, even if it is A24, took a chance on a script like this because it is ridiculous, right? What happens in the movie is absurd. The performances from Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd, to an extent, the only one who's really playing it straight is Kate Mara. So it's like to see that somebody did take a chance on a script like this, on a movie like this, and we get and we have it and we can see it. I think is a huge win, and I suggest people seek it out just because it's so important to try to keep, you know, telling original stories by up and coming filmmakers. You know,
I agree 100%.
I agree, yeah.
I think we need more. You know, Luis is our resident art house film guy, but I think I'm starting to get there too because like I've been watching a lot of different A24 and Criterion and Neon and the different studios
Mhm.
besides the main big ones that do a bunch of shit.
Movie.
And I have seen things. I love cinema. That's the whole reason why we started this channel. Yes, we want to talk about the comics. Yes, we want to talk about the CBMs and all that, but we do want to talk about the other like amazing works of cinema out there. And this is one of them. I can't say anything really negative. The one negative I will say about this film, if anything, they never explain what's going on with the nosebleeds.
no, they don't.
Answer.
They
I think
don't know what
I don't
that
think
is.
it's symbolic of anything. I think it's just like a weird nervous tick because I know people who have those.
It's also weird. It's like it makes you uncomfortable.
It's just when it gets nervous.
It is also like very effective because like that weird. I feel like it's because I'm used to A24 films and what they
Mm.
eventually have happen, right? Like where you have beef, where it starts out as just like a normal, relatively simple disagreement between two people going back and forth, beefing with each other, and then it's like weirdly violent. There's like a little bit of gore, and like things just go horribly wrong. I was waiting for that the entire time with this, and I feel like this movie does a really good buildup of its unsettling nature by doing simple things like not explaining the nosebleeds. I don't think that had to have a reason. It was doing its job of making me uncomfortable to where as much as I'm laughing, I'm also just like, this is Tim Robinson is playing the most upsetting man I would ever meet in
Yeah,
society.
I think to piggyback off of that, I think I would say this movie does a really good job at kind of like within the first 20 minutes, you know where you're getting, right? You kind of understand the tone of
Yeah.
the film. You kind of understand like kind of like the ridiculousness and the absurdity of like the humor that you're getting. And it's like once you know, for lack of a better term, once you lock in, you're just like, oh, okay, I got it. I see. It can seem kind of jarring, I think, at first, especially if you go into it not knowing what to expect. If you're not a fan of Tim Robinson or have never seen his sketch show on Netflix, I think you should leave. You know, you're just kind of like, what am I getting myself into? But even if you haven't, after like the first couple of jokes hit, after the first kind of couple of jokes land, and you kind of realize like what you're in for, I think it's pretty easy to just let go of the wheel and let
Mhm.
let these performers and this filmmaker kind of take you along for the ride. And I think it's a lot of fun. It's very uncomfortable and it can be kind of weird and strange, but I think, you know, that's obviously a part of its charm. And I think
Yeah.
go for it. Yeah, it's by design, exactly.
I like the kookiness of it. I was kind of like what was going on when they started singing, and I think of you. It did take me out of the
It's just a random. It's just
random. It was random as hell.
random
Like,
and funny. Yeah.
He didn't even say, "Hey, man, you remember that song?" He just busted into a song after the guy was
You-
talking about buying his daughter a bra. I was like, "What the fuck is
You
going on?"
kind of feel like Tim
Sometimes you
Robinson's
just gotta
character in
bust.
that moment as the audience, where you're just like, what's
And I think
happening?
that's
What are you doing there, pal?
I think that's the point. It's supposed to put you in an awkward situation. You feel as awkward as he feels in there. Obviously, we're not going to start busting out the song in the theater. Also, I was the only one in there
Me.
because the people of Grand Prairie have not adapted to my level of ball knowledge.
Despicable.
Just don't know.
Well, again,
Y'all got to catch up.
much like
Motherfuckers out here.
much like how filmmakers hide, kind of like heady topics in the
Mhm.
under the guise of like horror or science fiction. I think Andrew DeYoung does a pretty good job too, talking about like narcissism and like
Yo,
and socially awkward and inept people kind of trying to function in a society and like like to a certain extent like mental illness and stuff. Like it's got a lot of like
just like me.
a lot
The
of
male
things like,
loneliness epidemic.
no, I mean, and
He
you say that as a
said,
joke.
men's rights.
No, you say that as a joke, but there's something about
Men
No,
in this-
I think this
The
movie
Barbie
does,
movie for men.
It touches on it for sure.
yeah, something about men and friendships and how difficult it is to form
How
lasting
difficult it is
relationships
for
as adults.
people with the inability to form this
Exactly.
bond.
So,
Elon Musk.
so when you
Yeah.
step back, when you step back and kind of like really take a gander at it, it is saying a lot of things under the guise of like comedy and absurdity and
Yeah.
but I think it was a really good time and I think it was a lot of fun and I think we need more movies like this, especially in a day and age and in a what's it called in a
Society.
in a society in a
In these
landscape
trying
in which
times.
in the landscape in which we have so much IP saturation, original
Yeah.
independent original small budget
Mhm.
films like this are so incredibly
Like
important.
even when you look at something like I don't know if it's necessarily a small budget. It looked like it had a pretty substantial one going. But
You're out of your mind.
when you're
Probably like 90
what?
million.
What?
You're out of your mind if you think this had a substantial budget.
No.
I
I was talking about the
maybe
movie I
like
was going to
90
mention.
million.
Because you're talking about independent. You're talking about independent.
Peanuts.
No, you were talking about independent IPs, like independent, like
Oh,
original
yeah,
things, and I
yeah.
was thinking of how like Sinners, how we recently, like I don't know what the budget is on Sinners. I'm pretty sure it wasn't like super modest compared to like this.
It cost
But-
$8.4 million.
Sinners?
No, this.
No,
What?
Friendship.
Oh, I'm about to say no fucking way. Sinners cost 8.4
Sinners is like
million.
125.
Like
Like 120.
It's like
Yeah,
100
Sinners is
I
like
was about to say,
100.
that's fucking incredible. But to get back to what I was saying, when you see more original stories like this,
Mhm.
being brought to the forefront of theaters, right, and getting in more and more ingrained in the audience's minds, I think this is one of those that truly is one of those leaps forward in that stride to get more like original things out there in Hollywood and more in the public zeitgeist. Because I think like A24, even though they put out like a lot, like them and Blumhouse will just put out like almost anything sometimes, they still will put out original ideas because they dare to take a chance. And this movie,
Mhm.
for as original as it is, it shocks me to my core. I think it was Luis who said it earlier that Tim Robinson did not write this because I don't know if some of these lines were improv or if it's just the way he says them, but they're just so well delivered
Yeah.
to where it astounds. I think one of my favorite moments is when he's in the basement and he's having the beers with his coworkers and he's trying to like show it off to them. He's like, "This is a sword from a mighty knight," and one of the guys makes fun of him. He's like,
What's this for?
"This is small." He's like, "No, it's not for a baby. It's for a knight. Imagine you're on a horse." And this thing comes jousting at you, and he starts jabbing it in the air.
Right. I
And then,
think
like, the
there's
moment one of
something.
those friends, like, points the knife at him, he's like, "Boy, don't put that knife at me.
I
Get the
think-
fuck out of my house.
I
Get the
think
fuck out."
There's something so like I think like refreshing about not to get too preachy about it, but just about like kind of like how unapologetic this movie is about like what it is,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Because I think it can be so easy to just try to take a lot of. I'm sure studios were probably like, this is a lot, this is not very commercial, and for Andrew DeYoung and kind of the producers and everybody behind it, and even A24 to just be like, no, like this is the movie that you want to make, and this is the story that you want to tell, and this is the tone that you want to kind of like go for. I don't know. It's really cool to see a movie that's so unique and idiosyncratic in its humor and its taste and what it's trying to say. And I think again, we need more stuff like this.
That's one thing I want to like. That's one thing I admire about Tom Cruise. He loves any movie. I'm pretty sure he'll watch any movie and find something positive about it. That's one of the core values, so to say, for this channel. We really appreciate good cinema, no matter what studio, no matter what story.
Unless it's Sony.
Emphasis on good cinema.
Good story, good cinema. You can't just give me slap an MCU on it and think, man, you think, I'm just using that as an example. You can't slap MCU on something and give me slap and be like, oh, yeah, you'll like this. No, just because you spray perfume on shit, it doesn't mean it's not shit. It's still shit. It just smells that's like shit.
Right.
This was not shit. This was very good. This is a very well put together film. I think that, I don't know if it's really a twist, but Paul Rudd's hair situation, I chuckled at that.
Right, that's such an absurd, like stupid, like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the
joke,
fact that it becomes like a through line of the plot.
Was voted like the sexiest man alive for like 3 years or something like that.
And
just for him to have this weird situation. He's just bald, and he's also awkward in certain aspects. Like,
but that's part of the genius of this movie, that it plays into people's relationships to these perceptions. So Paul Rudd is as a movie star and as a famous person, he's incredibly charming and charismatic, and you can see why Tim Robinson's Craig kind of becomes infatuated with him in a sense.
Yeah,
due to that kind of charisma and that alluringness.
He gets that obsessive dependency going.
Right.
Puppy dog.
Exactly. Bitch boy behavior, but it's like
and I think just to like really like hammer home that even though this has like a lot of dramatic themes, right? There are moments in this where I think this might be one of the smartest comedies I've ever seen, purely because I hate circumstantial comedy a lot.
Have you seen Step Brothers?
Friends, except for Step Brothers. Step Brothers is pretty much the exception, but like circumstantial, like situational comedy, I find to be kind of weak because it all kind of hinges on people just referring to that instance, right? Just being like, "Well, that just happened," kind of shit. But this movie does it in such a funny fucking way. Like, one of my favorites is when when his wife is like lost in the sewers, right? And then she finally gets brought back. There's that guy that comes down to the basement and goes to bother Tim Robinson and is like, hey, so like, why'd you bring your wife down to this? Yeah, he's like, so you brought your wife down to the sewers to like kill her? He's like, hey, I didn't do that. I didn't do that at all. You know what?
The bit about her talking about her ex-boyfriend who's a ex-boyfriend who's a firefighter who she hangs out with and goes on dates with.
She's like, I can't do that next Saturday. I'm having drinks with my ex-boyfriend, and you just see him freeze. And then he just goes back to it.
Yeah, he completely. Or whenever Jack Dylan Grazer kisses her on the mouth, and that's her son. He's like, "What? Y'all are kissing on the mouth? Since when are y'all kissing on the mouth?
Yeah, y'all kiss on the mouth."
And then he just then it's just like, "You're being so weird, Dad." Or like that's my mom, and just like, and then that they move on and never talk about it or mention it again.
Or even like
there's something so
like when they're at the party. And he starts giving that speech, and people keep on interrupting him. And he's like, okay, well, having a little bit of a free-for-all situation. That's fine. I guess we're just letting anybody. If anybody wants to speak, you can tap a bottle like a man.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
he said, get on the chair. Get on the
chair if you want to speak. Otherwise, shut the fuck.
Let's have a parade. It's just
or
it's
when
really
he breaks into Paul Rudd's house, just all great.
Yeah, incredible movie.
I don't think there's a negative moment in this film. So I do wish explained the nosebleed thing.
Yeah. I don't think all the jokes land. I think all the humor hits, but I think there's something that I respect about how unrelenting it is. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of
doesn't back down at all.
Doesn't back down. Yeah, exactly. Either you buy into this experience, into this what this movie, or you don't. You know?
Yeah, it doesn't have
Also,
that
and I
lull
mean,
that it feels like with like some comedies where they're like, maybe that's too many jokes. Maybe we don't need to make any more right now. Maybe they're not getting them, so I'll try to dial it back. This movie's
Yeah.
like, no,
How many jokes
we're
can we
just going
fit?
for it.
Like, how many jokes can we fit in an hour and 40 minutes? Let's
And
do
they
it.
make sure that
y'all
they're
can
actually funny, and I pride themselves on that.
y'all can verify this or correct me if I'm wrong, because y'all have seen
Mhm.
A24 films too. They're very full send. They're unapologetic.
Yes.
They seek out to make whatever they're seeking out to make. They say this is what you're going to get 100% of the way, and you go into this movie
Like,
expecting a certain level of filmmaking, whatever the topic,
Mm.
whatever the theme is. If it's a horror movie, it's going to be done a certain way. This is a black comedy. It's it's going to be one of those cult classics. Give it a few more years, mark my words, it's going to be a cult classic.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean,
it's
that's
like
the thing about. I mean, and A24 is losing a bit of their
steam.
prestige.
Once
so
it
to
gets
say.
on Netflix.
Yeah, due to the fact that
Yeah.
they're more focused on trying to make bigger budget like IP stuff, and I understand, and that's whatever. That's why Neon is eating their fucking food for breakfast, as his
And
movie,
lunch.
Yeah, but
Movie cooking, man. Holy
movie,
shit.
yeah, and
Mhm.
but that's the thing about A24 is a kind of as a distributor, it's what made them so kind of such a big deal in Hollywood, right? Is because they were
Mhm.
willing to take chances on writers and filmmakers and creatives and stories that other distributors and producers weren't willing to. And so
Yeah.
this is just nice to see, them being consistent, at least with with their core ethos.
Agreed.
Let's
What's
let's
everyone's ratings on this? Let's roll,
Oh, yeah.
friends. What are our ratings?
I give this. I honestly think even the jokes that didn't make me laugh out loud, I still got at least like a snort out of. I think just about every joke in this worked for me, and if I rewatch it, there'll be more than a hit. This is a good cult classic, good old A24. I give it 5 out of 5. I like this movie. I like this movie a lot.
Valid.
I don't think I have a
Hey,
negative.
there you go.
I really can't think of something that I truly disliked in this movie.
Nice. Okay.
Mhm.
5 out of 5. Luis, what you got?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. Like I said, I think it's a testament to what makes original storytelling so great. It wasn't perfect. I had but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time, and I think I'm a huge Tim Robinson fan, and Paul Rudd's incredible, and so I'll give it like a 7, like an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, like a 3.5 stars out of 5.
I am right there with you. My rating, when I walked out of the theater at first, my rating was like 3.5. I'm leaning towards a 4 right now. It's not perfect, but it's still a great time. Oddly enough, this was probably the best film I've watched the last 3 movies I've seen, because I watched Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible, and then Friendship. This one might be the one that wins this week's movie going experience. It was great.
Yeah.
I knew what to expect, because we like you said, A24's track record is very, very obvious,
Very consistent,
apparent, and very consistent. Yes, so I have no negatives besides the what the hell is going on with the nosebleed, and why the fuck was he eating a bar of soap? What
Bro,
was
How
that?
he's like, I'm a bad boy.
What was that
Gotta
about?
punish the bad boy.
What was that about?
I love that scene so much because that's not a thing that they've established that they do. That's just something he made
He
up, and
just
he's
did
like,
it.
"Oh, you know
I'm
us
pretty sure.
with our bad boy
I
punishments where we
wanna.
quack like a duck and eat a bar."
And it's just like, and it's
I'm
like,
gonna buy this film on DVD so I can see the behind the scenes. I bet money that he's gonna. They didn't write that in there. He just did it. He was just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna eat this."
but here's one of the awesome things about this movie too, is that it's like it plays the
worked.
bit. It, like, when it finds a bit, it commits to it.
Mhm.
Like that bar of
Mhm.
soap scene went on for like 3-4
5
minutes.
minutes.
And you're just like,
A
what
mushroom
the fuck?
scene too.
What is going
Mushroom
on?
situation.
Or
And you
like,
just can't help
or
but
like at
laugh
the,
because of how
Mhm.
uncomfortable you are, but it's also really,
or like
it's so funny and strange. You're just like, what is happening? I don't
Yeah,
know.
what the fuck is
Just
going
that
on, bro?
that
near.
tone was just so, it was so
That's my
great.
reaction to everything. Man.
There's that scene near the end where like he's having dinner with his wife, and that guy bumps him, or bumps
Mhm.
the wife and like almost like spills like food on her.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
he like yells at the guy, and then after he yells at the guy, you're like, wow, he's really sticking up for his wife. Maybe he's trying to save his marriage, and he's like, I shouldn't have done that. We have to
Yeah.
leave.
He's like,
We
what
have
the
to
fuck
leave
did I
now.
just do?
We have to
What the
fucking leave
fuck
now.
did I
The
just
fuck
do?
did I just do? Leave. We gotta go.
Yeah, it's so good, man. It's so fucking good.
Oh man, I think okay. Removing the fact that I think you should leave, and I love Tim Robinson.
Same.
That bias aside, the lowest I would give this is like a 4.
Okay.
I do wish it was
fair.
a little bit longer because while the pace is consistent, it does feel a little brief.
Agreed.
Just feel a little brief. I
No,
feel like
that's
certain gags
perfect.
could have gone a little bit longer.
That's perfect.
It does
Stop
feel a little
making
brief.
movies 2.5 hours long. They don't need to be.
I feel it
I
think
agree on
I
that
went
point,
from Mission
too. I
Impossible to
do
this
agree on that
though.
point.
That's
No,
probably why because I was enjoying this
100%
more than Mission
agree.
Impossible.
Because not even the last couple, Mission Impossible is the first of many for the rest of the summer that we're going to see. They're going to be over 2 hours long. And
Oh god.
I love movies as much as the next guy, but I cannot. It has to be something really good for me to sit there for 3 hours straight. I gotta pee,
The
bro.
Batman.
I gotta pee,
I
dog.
can do the Batman for 3 hours straight.
Drive my car.
You know, like I love movies, but damn, some of
Yeah.
you niggas. Anyways,
No, but yeah, I think
Anyway.
it was a perfect length. I think it was
You're right.
like an hour.
Y'all didn't
40.
ask y'all didn't ask me for my hype meter, but I'll give it
Oh,
to you right
yeah,
now
what's
because
your hype meter?
Oh, yeah, what's your hype meter?
non-existent. Non-existent. Fuck Tim
Right.
Robinson. Fuck. I think you should leave. He's not funny. I'm
He
not
is
gonna watch
funny.
this movie. You guys are dumb for liking it. Now we can move on.
What? That's
So
an
anyways,
insane.
You should
wrong.
watch it.
You're
Yeah,
not
you're wrong.
moving me, bitch.
That
Anyways,
is
he's
that
wrong,
whole thing.
incorrect.
That is the second craziest change of
We,
perspective I've
we need
seen.
that. We need that meme
today.
where it's like, that's bait.
Yeah,
Bait.
Tom
Know
Hardy.
your age, man.
Ah, that's
Mm,
bait.
Get better bait if you're gonna fish, guy.
Yeah, that's bait.
But honestly, I think hearing Gerardo's thoughts, that was a crazier change. That was the second craziest change of perspective I think I've seen today.
Jesus
The first being in what we're going to talk
Stop.
about today in The Last of Us
I knew you were tired of this
Bad,
bullshit. And you tried
finale.
it twice, bitch.
Bad.
I don't.
It
I
didn't
don't.
work the first
What?
time. You tried it again.
What?
Fuck you.
What?
No.
He said, y'all didn't hear me the first time, but you know that's the
I
second
heard it.
craziest
I
change of
ignored it.
perspective. Yeah, exactly. We ignored it.
Listen,
I'm
I'll
ignoring
have
it
my
again.
revenge.
Y'all pretend that you didn't hear the last like 2 minutes
He's gonna be
because
Listen.
we're gonna be because instead of talking about friendships and building those relationships and the building blocks of life, we're gonna talk about hatred and hater shit. Speaking of
and
haters,
cycles of violence.
cycles of
I'm
violence.
mad. I'm not even mad that I got cut off. I'm mad that one was definitely so much better, and I can't even knock it. Like that was genuinely
Was
good.
it better?
Fuck.
It was
That
marginally
was better. No, it was better. It
Even
was
slightly
marginally.
better is better.
It's Will Smith being the best
I'll
in
tell you what it
Suicide
is.
Squad, and Jared Leto is.
I'll
there.
tell you what it is.
What is it?
It's the last of it's the last of my transitions for this episode because we're talking about The Last of
That's
Us.
really good.
5-season
Nice, bro.
finale. It's
Guys,
the
that's why
finale
he
of my
makes the big
transitions.
That's why he takes my pay from this podcast.
That's what I pay him.
That's why he
Exactly.
takes.
That's why I pay him.
That's why
You
I
don't
pay
even give Luis a
myself.
check. You just hand it straight to Matt.
Yeah, that's why
I
he's
pay
the
myself in
boss.
tequila shots and yeah.
Nice. Anyways, the
Real
last.
Speaking of shots, what
But-
the hell?
No,
They
no,
shot
no, no,
Jesse
no,
in
no,
the
no.
face.
Whoa! Immediately, okay.
Whoa,
we're just ripping off the Band-Aid.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Just
We
ripping off
going
the
straight,
Band-Aid.
bro. We going
Wait, can we start
straight in.
overall thoughts? Did we like it? Yes or no?
No.
finale.
Wait.
The finale.
Matt said no.
I vote
Bro, they killed
before.
No. Just,
No.
just
The like, not what happens. Like, did
the
you like the
finale or the
episode?
story?
The finale, the episode. Then we
No.
can talk about the season 2 as a whole in general. But
Sure.
for right now, we're
Okay.
just talking about the finale.
Okay,
Yeah.
just this episode alone,
Yeah.
I liked it, but
But
Mhm.
compared to how the other ones flowed and the character building, I feel like we got even when we were in present day during the vengeance shit.
Yeah.
This one did feel very abrupt. It felt very blah, 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 blah. Very
felt like
rushed. In my
like
opinion.
a failed QuickTime event.
It felt
genuinely,
like, to me,
I think it's because I was
felt
remembering the part in the game that this is based off of, and that part
Yeah.
in itself is like 3 or 4 minutes. Like it's not.
At best,
They
it's
kind
really
of.
short.
it felt
It is
like
pretty short. Yeah.
they knew that they were ending on a sort of cliffhanger,
Not
Yeah.
sort of,
And
dude.
they were
That
trying to
was-
get
how do
there.
we? They're like, how do we
Holy
get here?
cliffhanger, Batman.
It's more of a cliffhanger than the actual game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm torn on this one. Like,
Say,
I didn't really like it.
I'm not torn. It's ass.
I thought that
It's not
a lot of
It's not
the
ass.
creative liberties that they've taken on season 1 and season
Too
2
many.
have been stellar. Most of them have been really, really good. I haven't had any real negatives thus far. Season 2 is where I've been starting to get a little bit critical. I don't know the story of season 2 or
I do.
season 3 or
That's
whatever.
crazy. You being
because, like,
critical
I haven't
and
played-
not knowing the story is crazy. Imagine if you
No,
knew,
hear me out. Hear
you
me out.
hate
Hear me
this
out.
shit.
Hear me out. Let me
Imagine
explain.
if you would witness Peak and then had them butcher it.
Let me
for 6
explain.
weeks
Let me explain what I mean by critical. There's
Let me
some
tell you
things I'm
something, let me
like,
tell you
this
something.
part doesn't
Let me tell you
this
something.
part doesn't make sense. I don't
Yeah.
know. It doesn't hit right for me. Now, of course, once I play the game, I'll definitely be more critical. I'm like, this shit doesn't make
Mhm.
sense. This ain't
Mhm.
right.
Because you have that
But,
affiliation with it. Yeah.
as someone who only played game 1, I only know so much to a certain point. So seeing this in the order I'm seeing it without knowing what I need to know, I'm like, yeah,
Honestly, I'm
I
jealous.
see where things could be different. I'm going in this. I'm going in here blind, blank slate.
I do find it interesting though how you're going into this very blank slated, but you still have like you kind of see the cracks that people who've played the games and know the story have seen, which is interesting. I do fuck with that. I do
That's
fuck
'cause
with that.
we-
That
That's
that
'cause
means
we
the problems
cover-
are
we
consistent
cover
through every
stories.
quadrant.
It's because
We-
let me touch on this. Either Neil Druckmann is trying to rewrite his mistakes, which honestly, Last of Us Part 2, the game, is not written badly. It's got
It's
great
just
moments.
not written
a
in a
good
great
game.
order.
No, yeah, it's the order that's the problem. And like the gameplay is good, the story is good. Everyone has
Mhm.
the right motivation. People just hate Abby because she killed their favorite character. I get that. I get that.
Understandable.
In my core, I killed myself many times on purpose just to see Abby get dismembered. I get it. Trust me. Look at my
Were
shirt.
you-
Look at my shirt. It's Pedro. I get it. This show is lacking in a lot of different ways, and a lot of it doesn't have to do with Abby. It's just the changes that they made haven't
Bro,
worked as well as the changes they made in season 1.
Abby's gone for like 5 episodes too.
Abby's entirely absent
She's
for
gone.
the majority of the
There's a
season.
reason.
Yeah.
She shows
No,
up
I
in
know.
episode,
I know there's a reason.
episode 2 and the
I know
end.
there's a reason. I'm saying the issue is with the writing and Ellie's character as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
and her relationship
And
to
also,
her I don't want to say side characters, but her supporting cast is not.
yeah.
It isn't hitting.
I'm the consummate
I kinda-
defender of this show. Sorry, I'll just say what I
Mhm.
thought
Yeah,
about
go
the
ahead.
show before. I liked
Can I
it.
tack
I
on
like-
to what Gerardo just said too?
Go for it.
'Cause he just
Yeah,
brought up a
you
good
should have.
point. Season 1, Joel's supporting cast, everyone was eating at all points.
Yes.
Ellie,
Mhm.
Feasting.
Tess, Bill, Frank, Sam, Henry,
Bill.
everyone was fucking cooking. No matter whatever their role was in the show, they went crazy. Here it's kind of like hit or miss,
It's
Ellie and
really
Dean are
rushed
playing
is the
off.
problem. It's so rushed.
Yes. You can tell they're trying
yeah.
to get through like this season and just go to season 3 and make it average.
It's budgetary
I think-
constraints, and it's them trying to stuff as much character
It's also-
building as they can within these 5 seconds of fucking dialogue, and it just doesn't work.
It's not,
the same.
to add on to what y'all are saying. Originally, when I realized that, like the first game to me was one of the first ones in a long time that I had played of any game, to where I couldn't just shotgun it in a single sitting for the main campaign, because the Last of Us 2 campaign is like 30 hours or something. Like it's
a long
fucking,
time, yeah.
it's a
God
lot.
dang.
It's a lot of story they throw at you, right? So I had to take breaks and come back to it. And when I first heard that they were stretching this out into a multiple season thing and get all the beats of story and everything, I was like, cool. But let me just throw this out there. Shot in the dark, right? Andor accomplished something to where they did 3 episodes released per week,
Mhm.
and then did a
No.
time jump of a year, several missing blips in the story that we were able to fill in bits and pieces by ourselves, right? But in order to release like that, in order to build to that quality, they took a longer amount of time. I think it was like 3 or 4 years before we heard anything about
Andor's
another season of
also
Andor.
not
And
adapting anything. Is the
And
thing.
also, Andor isn't
but
written.
also,
It's written by Tony Gilroy. You can't
but
compare Tony Gilroy to fucking Neil
but here's
Druckmann. Come
but
on.
this is my point. This is my point, right?
Don't
When you have shows like
disrespect
that,
Tony
and you have
like
shows
this.
like when you have shows like that, right? Where you have shows like The Penguin, right? With great leading people who have the gravitas of people like Pedro Pascal, right? Where Colin Farrell as the Penguin is amazing, right? In that show, and it's so wonderfully written. And you have it released in such a way to where everybody's working all well together. It kind of feels weird when you have an incredibly talented group of people and you rush your story to a point to where you're just trying to get to a certain point. I feel like if this season was longer, right? If it was
Needed
if
it.
it was more than 7 episodes and you gave the
That
back
shit pissed
half
me off.
of Allie's or fucking not
Abby's.
Allie, Abby's experience with what Ellie has been doing at the back half of this season for another 7 episodes, made
This
the whole
story
season
needs to be
14
told
in total,
congruently.
right?
Yes.
Because by the time the next season comes
Wait,
out, we'll
quick time out.
know what Abby's been up to because we played the games.
I
Other
still,
people
still
will
haven't.
not
I still haven't said.
understand the
I still
framing.
haven't said how I feel about that episode.
Quick time out.
Then don't.
Yes, I was about to say AZ what you just said, but instead of a back half, have it 1 episode
Yeah.
Ellie, 1 episode Abby, 1 episode Ellie, 1 episode Abby. So it's
Exactly.
going and
Give
flowing.
it
But yes,
like
Luis,
that
what
one
you got?
show. I think it was called Fringe or something on Fox, where that guy like goes between different worlds. Like
But
have
if
2
you
different
did that, but
perspectives in
if
the
you
same
did that,
episodes.
you would.
You can do that.
The problem is that you would need more than just 7 episodes.
That's
But that was what I
Bro,
was
Right.
saying with
what
the
That's
have
with
I
the
what we've
been
end.
always
saying?
gone for.
What
But
have I been saying?
that's
Niggas is
but
not
that's the
listening.
same
Why are we
exact thing that
making
I
these
was
little
saying
itty
earlier
bitty ass seasons?
with
Why we make these pee-wee
with that
ass
Andor
seasons?
Oh my God,
explanation,
y'all both
right?
talking,
I was
bro.
saying I feel like they should have had longer than just like a year or
Right.
two
The
between the
problem is
first and second season to
the
make
show.
more
The
episodes.
problem is there's just so many like logistical issues that are outside of like actual like the creative process of
Fair.
these people. That goes
Fair,
into
fair,
like
fair.
it's an expensive
Yeah.
show to make, right? So they're
Yeah.
like, okay, you want 4 seasons of this show? We can't do 4 12-episode seasons. They're like, we can't afford that. We can give you
Mhm.
7 episodes, and you get 4
Or they
seasons,
could,
or
they
you do
could give
3.
us 9
or you
like
do-
last season.
9
Sure.
could have been good.
But
I was surprised it was
they
7.
probably
Honestly.
probably got more expensive this season than they did last season. You have to pay Jeffrey Wright. Bella Ramsey's probably
They had to add in a
more
whole
money.
fucking infected Bridge Jackson
Ooh.
storyline, which
Exactly.
was
They
amazing.
also
Exactly. So
yeah, yeah.
so it's a budgetary thing, right? So it's like, all right, well, now we have to adapt this 30+ hour game in which a lot of it is you
45 hours.
in which a lot of it is you just running around,
Finding journals
discovering
and like
stuff,
yeah.
finding
And that's
journals, killing zombies.
yeah.
So how do you accurately represent that and put that on the
I
screen?
I
You
I
can't.
understand that, yeah.
And then on top of that, now we have to compress it into only 7 episodes.
7 episodes.
Plus
And they also thought they were going to need 3 seasons, whereas
Yeah.
now Craig Megan is saying
they said 2.
Craig Mazin is saying maybe 4 seasons.
4 seasons, exactly.
I think there's this YouTuber I saw a while ago said something really poignant
Oh
about
wait,
like
wait,
gaming
wait, wait,
adaptations.
sorry. I still didn't say anything. I like
Yeah.
Um,
because I'm trying to
Okay,
counter.
good,
I'm
good.
trying to counter all of y'all's points, which I think are incredibly valid. But I
Mhm.
liked the finale. I thought it was good. I think it worked. I mean,
I thought it was boring.
I did not think it
I
was
got
boring.
bored.
You're also. I hate you go into the show with so much ill will,
No,
and then you're like,
no,
"It
no.
sucked." And
No,
it's like,
because
come
you-
on, bro.
Oh, we've talked about this, and I said I like the show. That I have issues with the show, but I think overall the show is still good.
Overall, it's great. I'm right between Luis and Gerardo because I don't think the episode was bad per se, but I do think it could have been better. It's definitely one of the weaker episodes, and as far as the finale goes, I'm not exactly wowed. I'm like, all right, well, You put the paper in, you pass the class, yippee. Like I'm not really caring that much. I think the stride is hit in like the last 2 or 3 minutes when Abby shows up and when Jesse gets shot in the face. That's it. That's really where it kind of hits its stride. Everything else, I'm like,
What him
all
her
right,
killing
or whatever.
her killing Owen and Mel? You didn't like?
That
I
part
think
was I
can
you
I
know
can
what?
I speak?
Go ahead. You go first. You go
Speak, brother.
talk to him.
I've
Talk to
played the
him.
game religiously.
I
I
played the game
replayed
too.
it. I
Mm,
replayed it before I started this season.
Mm,
It doesn't
I
compare.
didn't.
It doesn't compare.
mm.
No, of course it doesn't
And
compare.
no, but
I
I think it should because the first
yeah.
season of this show is better than the arguably, right? But in my opinion, is better
Arguably
than
than
the
the
game.
first game.
Yes.
I'd say so. I'd say
Do
so, especially
I
the Bill
love
arc.
every choice that they made? No. The Bill choice is the only choice I don't like. Other than that, I think it's
Mm.
better. I think it's better. I think it's a better story. I think it's more cohesive.
Mm.
I love the first season. The second season, it doesn't
It's missing the mark.
so far. It's missing the mark.
Interesting.
I think
It's not reaching that barometer of quality that's
And
come before it,
I
in
honestly
my
feel
opinion.
like like I know you and me at least we talked about it.
Mhm.
The fact that the stories aren't being told congruently
Mm-hmm.
is
Hmm.
a huge misstep because
Mhm.
Neil Druckmann had this chance
Yeah.
to tell this story better, and he's like, no, let's do it the same way again.
Oh my
After this,
god.
let's just
No.
focus entirely on Abby. No,
You know
the
what this
point
feels
is
like?
the important the way why this story is poignant is because
Yeah.
Abby and Ellie's stories are parallels,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and they're not telling
Exactly.
it in a parallel fashion.
You
They're
know,
doing this.
you know
They're making the same mistake again, and I hate that
that
because
duality is
I
Oh
thought it
wait,
was a
in the
really
game. Wait, in the game, they're telling the stories parallel, and people fucking still hated Abby.
no, they're
no, no,
not.
no, no.
No,
The reason
you
they're
play as
no,
Ellie the whole time, and then you play as Abby. You get her backstory.
yeah.
You learn everything about her in
The
like fucking
the
7
reason people
cutscenes,
the
and then
reason
you
why
start
people
to
were
play as her.
yeah, people were mostly mad about the game, Louise, is because they don't outright give you Abby's motivation. You see it after she's beaten your dad to death and you've suffered all this
Yes.
horrible shit. That's why
Yes.
people were angry, right? And that's the
Right.
same thing they're doing right now. It would be like if you saw an entire Batman
Wait, you
movie, right?
wanted
When it's a
more
duology.
backstory before we get her killing Joel?
No, not even that. Just to see anything of what she's doing to lead up to where she is right now. Because I feel like going an entire season of just Abby with this 7 episode kind of format that they're going with, right? To get the most out of both the budget and the acting and the
Mhm.
script and everything. I feel like it's not working as well. It would be like if you had a duo back to back of Batman movies, and the first one is just Bruce Wayne doing paperwork and taxes, and then the sequel is him as Batman only. Like it feels weird. That dichotomy feels lost. It feels
Mm.
I don't know, kind of it doesn't build anticipation. If anything, it makes me lean more towards like diminishing returns for the next season. Overall, I
I
liked the
think
season, but the episode itself did not inspire confidence.
I disagree, man. I don't
I
understand.
think
I like.
going into this one
Go for it.
and seeing oh go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna say I think I agree that they should tell the stories at the same time, congruently. But like also I think it was great the way they did Abby finding Joel, Abby killing Joel in front of Ellie, and then showing that episode where Joel and Ellie are just connecting. That part
Yeah.
was done really fucking well, and I cannot deny that. That really made you see the attachment that they formed. Of course, they had the attachment being built in season one, but it really showed them, finally settling down, not being on the road and running from all types of heinous shit across the
Right.
country, and just being father and daughter. And it built on that really well. But the issue now is we just had they said, hey, here's this little demon character who fucking kills your main guy, and then just disappear her for 3-4 episodes. We don't know what she's doing. I want to know what was going on.
You will
I mean,
next season.
I don't
Yeah,
want to fucking wait for
in
next
2
season. First of all,
years.
here's my biggest.
That's
Here's my
TV.
biggest.
It's
Right.
TV though.
No,
Here's
the
thing,
state of
bro.
TV is
I don't
in the
want.
fucking shitter because
No,
they want to
man.
do these
No.
6-episode
Nah.
seasons. Let
TV's
me
the best
say
it's
it.
ever been.
They want to do these 6-episode seasons. We used to get 15 episodes, 20 episodes, and it would be a cohesive story.
Yeah, but look at the quality
it'll
of
be total
TV
cost-
shows
Sure.
that we were getting back
But
there,
but
and the
yeah,
quality of
that's
TV
that's
we're
one
getting now.
thing.
poo-poo now.
But now they're gonna do the same thing that the game did, and they're gonna be like, no, look at Abby. She's actually no, we redeemed her because she's saving this kid. Or
Right,
whatever.
but I
Like,
think
I'm gonna be vague.
forcing you.
She's saving this kid. She's changed. That's
Mm.
not.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hit as hard if it's not happening at the same time because she's just like
Why though? Why does it not hit as hard?
It's going.
because
wait,
it's
but
the
why?
complete because it's the opposite of Ellie's story. Ellie in the game is
It-
becoming more and more ruthless. She's getting more and more
Yeah.
bloodthirsty. She's getting
Mhm.
in. She's getting too deep into
She's
this
becoming
quest for
like
revenge.
full.
Whereas Abby is healing in a way. She is
Right.
getting better. She's like, no, what I did was
Flip
wrong.
that.
She's
Chat, flip
breaking the cycle.
It's not that
And
they're
Ellie is not.
but it's not that they're the opposite. It's that they're the same. Abby is just further along in her redemption than Ellie is. Abby's already had the the revenge, wanting to get revenge and kill all those that have harmed her, kind of thing. When the game starts, Ellie, because of what Abby does, then falls into that same cycle, after the fact.
Right,
So
right.
she's just ahead of Ellie in her redemption. In the
Okay.
cycle of violence and revenge that they're both
Mhm.
on, Abby
Mhm.
is further along than Ellie is. It's not that their
Right.
stories are opposite. It's that they're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah,
They're the
I
same
said they're
person.
parallels. Yes, I know.
Yeah,
To-
exactly.
to-
So I think it is a good thing to force the audience to spend an entire season with Abby, with her, and so you can kind of get to understand her perspective, where she comes from,
Now-
her friends, her family, who she cares for, what motivates her,
Right.
so that whenever you do see her make that decision to kill Joel, you're like, I don't. You should feel conflicted because you're like, I like Joel.
Now,
That's the main character, but I
But her story
understand why
essentially
Abby
is,
does it.
but
oh, I've been killing all these children and men in the Seraphite clan, and
Yeah.
now that I killed the guy that I wanted to kill, oh, I feel bad about it. Oh no.
also-
Maybe I
Yes,
should-
exactly.
all right.
It's almost like
No,
revenge. It's almost like revenge blinds you, right?
But wait,
You don't
wait,
think
wait,
logically when you're
wait.
trying to
But
kill
look
the
at it.
motherfucker
But
who
look at it like
killed your
this. Look at it
dad,
like this.
and you're angry.
right?
So you're trying to kill the people that your boss tells you that you're supposed to kill because they're also bad and evil.
Louis,
Like
but
it is
Louis,
about growth. And
what about this? What about this though? This is the way I see it, right? As the prime Alex Garland level fence sitter that I am, I'm right once again between the middle of you guys.
uh-huh,
I do
As
think
always.
that Gerardo has a point.
uh-huh.
However, I
do
do not
too.
I do not agree to where I'm like that inherently makes this much worse than it is. I feel like it is a negative, not because it doesn't work, but because it is less effective. You can have a machine run with all of its parts except for like one semi-inconsequential bolt, but it might not run to its maximum of efficiency. Had we got that dichotomy, had we got Ellie and Abby's stories running in tandem throughout this season,
Mhm.
right? I feel like, to a degree,
Sure,
the
sure.
vengeance allegory and the things, the notes that they could have fixed from the game's story, and then they could have juxtaposed that and have them going side to side, back to back with their little adventures, right? I
Mhm.
feel like that would have been pretty damn effective.
I just
as
think
opposed
that's
to-
easier to say because we didn't get that. Had we gotten it, people would
Yeah.
have been bitching about how we didn't get enough time with Ellie to see her growth and her change, or how we're spending too
That's-
much time with Abby, or we don't see enough of her either because they're splitting time.
But here's
Well,
here's
that's
the thing,
We
Louis.
don't see a lot of change
We-
with Ellie.
But that's
Sure,
that's
yeah.
also
That's a
kind of
completely
that's also
different
kind of the
point,
thing.
though. Yeah.
But I feel like because we don't see a whole lot of change with Ellie, to see a mirror of what she could become later on down the line, it would have been nice to spend a little bit more time with Abby this season. So that way we could have gotten more of a fleshed out idea, more of a characteristic. Because by the time we get to next season, right, they're gonna have to do a whole recap, and you're gonna have to just put your mindset. It's gonna be like watching Avengers Endgame when they're going through like different Marvel movies. You're like, oh, that's a place where Ellie was. Oh, that's a place where Ellie was. Oh, Ellie was there. She did this. Blah, 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 blah. It's gonna feel like that for a good chunk of the second season, at least from the perspective I could see of Gerardo's side of like they should have used her more in this season.
Yeah,
Now,
I
is it
don't
an
know.
overall
He likes
negative
it.
indicative of the quality of the show? I don't
Yeah.
think it's that deep, but it would have been nice. You
What
know,
was
it's
what
a
was
little garnish,
y'all
a little parsley.
I
what was
think
y'all's issues with
we'll
oh
call
go
this
for it.
like a. Oh, I'm just saying we'll call this like a sophomore slump for the show.
Yeah,
Sophomore slump.
And this is
Yeah.
something that a lot of
These are
shows
not my
do
words.
face.
I disagree. Fans, comments, I
I'd say it's
disagree.
I'd say it's the weaker of the whole
This is
season
this is
overall.
this
I
is
I'd say it's
really
the
hope
weaker
this
one
is
of
the
overall.
weakest. I want it to get better. I hope
Mhm.
this
it
is something a lot of shows do face. And now that I'm talking about it, I'm kind of like, I hope the Penguin doesn't go through the same thing because I fucking love the
Hmm.
Penguin, bro.
God forbid.
But a lot of shows hit their second season, and the popularity and the gravitas and the magnanimousness of the first season is not
Nice.
reached in that second
Absolute
season.
power
There's
corrupts.
something
Yeah.
there's something that's missing. Now, that's not saying that this is trash. Season 2 is still pretty good, but season 1 did something so special and locked us into a story.
Yeah.
But most of us already knew. We've already played the games.
It's also much more difficult because season game 2, I think, is I don't from my correct me if I'm wrong, Gerardo. It's considered like a masterpiece.
I think
It's
so.
pretty well
He
regarded.
left.
Oh,
He's gone.
he's gone. But it is aside from like a lot of the trolls online and people complaining about it being woke or whatever the shit.
Right.
It's very well regarded
Yeah,
Very
story
well
wise
regarded.
because
Yeah, so
Naughty Dog, even
it's
though they
hard
make
to
terrible
adapt
movies,
something
they still
that's
have
so
experience.
yeah, it's hard to adapt something
Yeah.
that's so universally lauded.
So
you know?
critically acclaimed. Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
going to make everyone happy. You're not going to hit every quadrant. You can aim for it, but you won't hit it.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show this show is relatively divisive, but I feel like as much as we have like contrasting takes, we can all agree overall the quality of the show has not dropped, even if this one episode does have more negatives than we would have given like past ones. I'd say overall, still a great season. I give this episode.
Gerardo, I meant to
I'd
ask
say I
you.
give this episode.
Yeah.
You were
Oh.
gone. Is game 2 considered a masterpiece?
In my opinion, yes. In other people's opinion, no, because it has a buff girl.
Yeah,
you
they don't like buff women.
I think it's
come out the
important.
basement
I think
and
it's
see reality.
I think it's important to state that a lot of people's problem with Last of Us Part 2 is that they don't like women.
Yeah.
And they don't like women that they don't imagine themselves fucking.
Fucking, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
And Abby is I don't want to say she's ugly or whatever, but like she's not like
kind of like
she's
a conventionally
quote-unquote
a
too
feminine,
masculine.
thick goon
Yes,
queen or
she's
whatever.
not conventionally attractive. How Ellie is. Ellie is an attractive model. Like, and people like they attach to her. And then people have this other character who they are forced to play as after like 20, 30 minutes of not unskippable, but like 20, 30 minutes of cutscenes
Feels like it.
interwoven with some like slow walking where you talk to her dad and you are forced to hear about him and learn about him instead of that being at the beginning of the
Oh.
game, right? And they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I hate this girl. I fucking hate her. She killed my dad or whatever the hell, and she's not hot. She's not
Yeah.
fuckable."
And then and then on top of that, she's not hot. Fuck this.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Which
a lot-
is
a
crazy.
huge problem with Last of Us Part 2, the game,
Dorks.
is people
Yeah,
dorks
yeah.
who can't think of themselves fucking Abby. And a lot of the problem with
I
this
can.
current same with this current adaptation is they don't want to fuck Bella Ramsey. And that's a big problem with them. It's not her acting, it's not their acting, because
Mhm.
they're fucking great.
Mhm.
Their
Mhm.
writing isn't stellar. I will give them that. I think there's some missteps there, but they are doing the best that they can with some very middling direction, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that Last of Us Part 2 is a great fucking game. I'd consider it a masterpiece. I hate how it ends because I love revenge as a theme, and breaking the cycle is not something I like as a
As
theme.
the CEO of hating, I have to
As the
agree.
CEO of hating, yeah.
If I see some
I-
shit, let me tell you like this, bro. If someone smoked one of my peoples, man, we wet up the whole block, bro.
That's
Good
what I'm
cheese.
saying.
They be like, eye
I'm
for an
pulling up
eye, nah,
too, the
bro.
fuck?
Give me the whole face.
I'm like,
Give me the
hey,
whole face.
I get why you did it, but taste this 45 real quick.
Yeah.
My
Very
God.
We gonna show you what we're about. You know that whole scene
Be
when
like,
they're in the town hall, like in the town hall talking about something. Oh, we can't send people because blah 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 blah. Fuck that. If somebody killed, if someone came into my community and
I
killed my
hate that they made me agree with Seth.
bro,
You want me to
booming the
thank
whole
them
shit.
for pissing in my eye?
I
Mhm.
was like,
He could.
you
Did
telling
good.
me
He
this
did
man
good.
wants violence
Racist
and he's homophobic? Sign
Well,
me up.
I would just say this. Jesse pissed me off when he said, I voted no. Bitch.
Fuck you.
Oh, okay,
Jesse, what do
okay.
you got to do, Jesse?
We can get into the
Smoking
Jesse,
on Jesse's
the
path.
Jesse horrendous adaptation,
Character assassination.
character
Now-
assassination.
He
Okay,
looked
Now-
good.
so Matt,
Now,
you haven't
RIP,
played this
wait,
game.
let
In the game, Jesse, that's your fucking number one dog, right behind you.
okay.
He
quick,
I
said,
see they try to
he
establish
said,
that at the end.
he said, if you had asked, I would have came for you. I would have
Mhm.
came with you. He said, I looked up to Joel. In the show, they changed him to be like this, like a
Passive.
stickler. No, not even passive, a stickler. He's like, I'm for the community. I'm this.
He's
I'm that.
he's majorly a straight man out of fucking nowhere for no reason.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know where this bleeding heart shit came out of.
and in the whenever they do the thing at the end of these episodes where they they gas themselves up and they suck their own cock about like, hey, we wrote this like super good. We love how we did this.
Fucking hater.
No. They're like we love how we got to explore Jesse. You changed his character completely. You changed him from a character who supports Ellie, who supports Dina, who's in this like really fucking confusing love triangle.
Okay.
And in the show, he's like he doesn't say it, but he kind of hates Ellie.
Also, Gerardo,
Bro said,
I'm glad you.
Yeah, Dad. I knew he was dying.
Yeah.
Also,
He said it twice. I was like, this motherfucker dying. He's
I
going.
can't
that's what we
die
call
because I'm gonna.
super good
No,
writing.
he's literally like every single guy at a cop movie. It's like only a couple days away from retirement. Baby's on the way. I recently
you
sold
just
my
watched The
house. I
Order.
hit
He's
the
the-
lottery.
he's the
It's a
Taylor
great
Sheridan.
day.
Character in that.
He's the Taylor Sheridan
I
character.
think-
It's my least favorite character. Thanks.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But
that's kind of like
Now-
what it is.
now-
the good guy
now-
who with the
now-
bleeding heart who ends up getting killed.
Mhm.
now,
And that was
Here's the
that was one of my biggest problems with that movie.
yeah.
And changing him from like one of the youths, or what would you call it? He's like from that
One of
new
the
generation of
YNs.
Jacksons. Yeah, one of the YNs. The new
adolescent.
generation of Jackson. They have a sense of community and they stand together. But instead of like standing with his like, what would you call it? His compatriots, whatever. He's like, no, I stand with the
peers.
establishment.
Well,
He's
he
like,
says
those are my guys.
he says
That's my community.
He says this is the community that raised me. They gave me everything.
Give a
So he's
fuck.
incredibly
Now
Yeah,
that's
But,
fair.
but he also does say to Ellie, he says, but then I knew that if that was me, you would have burned the world down to find me. Which kind of gives you the understanding that that's why he returned. Yes, he is upset at her. Yes, he is mad at her, but he still loves her and he knows that's his friend. And he knows that she would have given everything to find him, which is why he decides to come back. And I think that's incredibly poignant and kind of powerful and moving as well. I think that makes him a more tragic and more complicated character as opposed to just being, that's my girl, I'm gonna go find her. I think his reasoning, his decision making being a little bit more complicated, a little bit more flawed, and be like, I don't like you, I'm kind of upset at you, but you are my friend, and I know that if the roles were reversed, you would have come for me no matter what. So that's why I'm here, even if it's against my better judgment, and I know that I shouldn't, and I know that this is dumb. I'm still here.
But
now that Luis,
but he still voted against it.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing.
That's what matters.
And also here's the thing. I feel like Luis is onto something because I feel like it does make it more tragic that his instinct. I hate to go to one side of the fence, but the grass is greener on the Luis side right now because he is kind of spitting. Because originally I was with you, Gerardo, but now that Luis has said that, now that I'm realizing like there is a much more complex motive. I'm sheeple.
That's called
I'm
media
sheeple.
literacy, baby.
That's called
I'm
cartoon
sheeple,
brain.
but I'm also starting to realize like it does make his death much more. Granted, it was basically a giant neon sign that said "I'm going to be
course.
dead" by the end of
Yeah.
this episode.
Bro, I told you.
Like,
The minute he
but
said, I'm going to be a father, I said, that nigga dying.
It makes it
And
more
I gotta
dramatic.
go and
Yeah.
get out of here.
I was like, did I just catch you trying to be shit, no nigga? Bah! And just smacked him.
Mhm.
But based on even aside from how telegraphed his death was, I feel like how he originally decided against Ellie going out and setting out a party to avenge Joel, right, on behalf of the people of Jackson, and then him trying to make up for that by going out after Ellie and knowing that if the roles were reversed, you know, Ellie would have burned the world in order to like
To
go
find-
and help him, right, and vice versa, right? How he was trying to make up as a penance, and for that, he's just so unsanctimoniously given the JFK
Yes,
taper fade like within
exactly.
seconds.
Not
That's
even
the
that.
crazy
And I
thing.
He got
feel
the
like
most like unceremonious
feel
headshot you can get. He got it in his cheek, bro.
I
That hurts
he
even more.
got like that shot that they have in Andor where that guy that wants to date Bix just gets blasted and he just falls
Oh,
unceremoniously. That's
Brasso?
how that gunshot felt.
Not
Brass,
breast.
I don't
No,
think
the
it's
guy from the
Brasso.
first season,
The guy
Yeah.
from the first season, the one that
Yeah.
just gets shot with a blaster and
the
just
white guy.
falls,
Yeah.
right? And there's no fanfare, nothing. It goes to show that even though he was a main character, much like all the Seraphites that we see die, much like all the wolves we see die, even though these are people, and regardless of how much we follow them, they are still at the end of the day just fucking people, and they are
Yeah, nobody's
expendable as
bulletproof.
hell.
And
Yeah.
I know that a
Nobody's
lot of people,
bulletproof,
I've
and
seen a lot of people.
I do feel like that makes it more effective by
Yeah.
giving him this new motivation. And I think that is a change from the games to the show that I
And
can support.
I've heard a
I
lot of people
think that's
complain
good.
about that scene in which Ellie washes up on shore and she gets picked up by the Seraphites and they're about to kill her. And
I've
people
heard,
like
yeah.
people like that seems unnecessary. This is whatever. But I think
It's in the game. The fuck?
It's not in the game.
it's not
No.
in the game. It's not in the game. But
No,
I
that
think
is.
not that scene
in the game.
specifically. No,
She doesn't wash up on shore. But
or get picked up
there's
by
Oh.
something like that. Yeah, but I think it's very obvious what the purpose of that scene is, right?
yeah,
To
it's
show
for
you-
Neil Druckmann to show that even children
Palestinians
can
are
be-
evil.
can
Yeah,
be
exactly.
evil.
Exactly. No,
Yeah,
I think
stupid
it's to show. I mean,
Yeah.
regardless of how you feel about its real world counterparts or not, right?
Motivations,
Whether
sure.
it has anything to say about what's going on in Gaza or not. I think it's meant to
Free
show
Palestine.
that even the free Palestine, that even the Seraphites aren't, you know,
Entirely
perfect.
No,
victimless.
no,
in
they're
this,
not perfect.
They
And they're gonna
are
show it. They better show it. And then this
Season
next
3.
season with Lev, because I think that is as much as I
Exactly.
hate Abby.
So I think there is a lot. I
Lev's
think,
story
like we
is
said,
beautiful.
me and Gerardo were talking about. I think a lot of the issues with this season are compression issues that they're trying to fill a lot in a very short amount of time. 7 episodes is not much, and
Not
you
enough.
know,
Not
and
near
What
we
I
have,
always
and-
say, bro.
I know, and we have 20 something hours of gameplay, 15 hours of
I'm
gameplay
gonna
that
go
up to this
through.
point that we're going that the first 7 episodes try to cover. It's a lot. It's damn near impossible. So no matter what decisions you
also-
make, no matter what adaptive choices you make, it's always going to be
Yeah.
it's always going to be a problem. And I just want to say
You know-
before we move on really
Oh.
quick, just I think people are complaining about Ellie's characterization and they feel that she's not as ruthless or as tough as she was in the game.
That's me.
I think honestly, I think it works for the show. I think we're getting a different version of Ellie, and that's perfectly fine, and that's perfectly okay. It's what it is. We talk about it all the time.
No, because we have seen we've
Oh,
seen Gail, the fake psychiatrist. Nurture does matter. Anyway, she's talking about how he's going down the same path as Joel, and we don't see enough of that.
we
And
do.
we
That's
have-
what the Nora scene is.
No, because we
wait,
should
wait,
have
wait,
more
wait.
than just the Nora scene.
I think
And
the
I don't-
reason
there's
why
7
it feels like that
episodes.
though,
That's
but
why you get that. We talked about
But
this.
look-
They can't give you 15 hours of her running around killing WLF soldiers because you can't
Hold
do that in
up.
a fucking TV show. So
Wait,
you get
that's
one
exactly
scene-
that's exactly
you
what I was
get-
about to say.
That's why you
Look,
need
little-
the main cast of Abby's posse to at the very least make up for that, because we're missing 2 men. We're
Should've
missing a
killed
woman.
3 of
We're
them,
missing
though.
Leah. We're missing like Joey or whatever the fuck, and some other guy. We're missing like
Now-
3 other people that she
We
has to
do-
encounter to
Oh
understand.
my god, we are.
For us to understand how far down this
But-
path she is.
But also here's the thing. Like I was saying earlier, to hit on what Luis had said, right? And what I was saying earlier about that YouTuber when he was talking about video game to movie or show adaptations, because it is not a hands-on because you are not going through that hands-on experience, right? Of spending that bond as controlling that character through their POV, right? There is a lot more that has to be like shown or explained because you don't have that hands-on approach, but there's also going to be stuff that gets lost, right? And I feel like Ellie's ruthless nature, right? I feel like if she just went balls to the walls ruthless, right? Like just out the fucking gate, because they killed Joel like what, like episode 2,
Yeah.
right?
Second episode,
Even
like
I mean,
5 minutes in.
even though she's grown up in this harsh environment, she still has that nurture of growing up a little bit in Jackson and having like a positive positive, at least as positive as you can get with Joel. It's like a father figure in her life, you know, and everything, right? So she's been more nurtured and
She has
more
no
coddled, but
reason
she hasn't had to
because
the
she
last
hasn't struggled.
the last
The
time that she
reason
got
is
ruthless
losing
was
Joel. Shut up.
no. The
Yes,
last
I
time where
know,
she
exactly.
fully went feral, right? When she fully went like straight ruthless and murked a nigga was that one guy. I think his name was like James or Jones or whatever, the guy in the cabin, the pedophile, right? From season 1 where she's fucking like hacking him to pieces, right? That was Ellie
David?
truly losing herself. And I feel like that was her in danger in full fight or flight, right? This is her own life that she's still very much in control of, right? And she could use whatever justification she can go for of, oh, this is for Joel, oh, it was me to avenge Joel, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. But at her core, because she's grown up in this much more positive environment, she has still that bit of reluctance. Even when she goes and meets what's the first bitch she kills? Krista? I think her name is Krista.
Nora.
What the fuck is her name?
Nora.
Nora.
What the hell?
There's something with
What the
there
hell
was something
game
with
you
It
playing?
was
You
something
got
with
the
It was something with But when she kills Nora, right? You see
Marsha.
before she starts really bashing her shit in, right? She has that reluctance of her just like not wanting to fully give in to that anger and rage and to hold on to what she is. And then she just fully goes, nah, fuck it, we ball. I'm here. Starts going at her like Jason Todd.
I would respectfully disagree because I
Why?
think with her
Enlighten.
fighting back against the pastor, the cult leader in season 1, that was purely
Mhm.
survival mode. Her
Right.
killing him
Right.
was her trying to fight for, because he was about to sexually assault her.
Right.
Because he's
Right,
a
right,
weird
right.
fucking pedophile. Great actor, by the
Right,
way.
that's
He sold that shit.
Yeah, he
But,
did his role. Sure.
He did what
Right,
he needed to do.
that's what I
Now,
was saying when I was like,
I don't.
that's what I was saying
think
earlier when I
this-
kind of disregarded it when I was like, that's kind of fight or flight, so it's not like necessarily in the same bracket, but that's like
Now,
when we see
in
like a true
season,
like relentless Abby or
in season
Ellie.
2, in season 2, I don't think this is a reluctance, bro. This is her slowly.
Yeah.
This is like Anakin turning to the dark side. She's feeding off this energy. Joel has shown levels of violence throughout her entire life, and we even see the flashback with her
Right.
with Eugene.
Eugene.
And I think
hated
she
that
does at
fucking-
one point. At one point, she does try and change and be different from Joel. But the episode with her beating the shit out of Nora, beating the goddamn snot out of Nora with that lead pipe, is her feet diving deeper into almost a darker path than Joel.
Right.
Yes, she's
And
not
I
here for
feel like
vengeance, but it's like we're seeing everything that Joel tried to protect and keep her from,
Mhm.
shield her from, being undone because of the actions that Abby has taken. And that's what
yeah.
I really hope they go. I don't know, season 3.
But I
we
get
need-
what
we
Gerardo
need
was saying.
something.
I also see what
He
he's saying.
Yeah.
You're saying, you know, if she does kind of succumb to it and beat Nora the way that she does and kill her, then why is she then regressing when it comes to Owen and
Mel, because Mel is
You know,
pregnant.
why is she
That's
not
fair.
right? But I get what you're saying. It seems
She
like
sees Dina when she sees
it
Mel.
seems like the writers are unsure of what it is they want to do with Ellie. They don't want to make her come off as too violent,
They're
too unlikable.
scared to make her too unlikable. That's all it is.
But in doing so,
Yeah,
they're making her
I think-
unlikable because they're making her too childish and too
She's really
empathetic and
They,
too kind.
it's another one of those. It's another one of those holes they wrote themselves into, even with the original
Exactly.
game. Of there is truly no real way to fix that because you can go two extremes, right? You can go one side, you can go the other, but you can't go in the middle because you've already pushed both sides of the envelope. There's no further to go,
Exactly.
right?
and
They
I think
made
with
they
season 3,
so maybe
they
this
gotta
next season with Abby might help flesh. Maybe
yes.
might make us a little bit less sour on the progression of Ellie. Hopefully,
I hope so.
They gotta
I have a
something
lot of
and
trust in
full
Caitlin
speed on
Dever.
it.
I think they're a great fucking performer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I just hope that the writing doesn't fail her in the way that I feel it has failed Bella Ramsey.
I wonder if season 1 was mainly Craig like writing and being given the chance to do what he wants to do, and then season 2 was like
Mhm.
a little bit of meddling from either studio or from
My head canon is that
Neil.
Neil Druckmann bitched about not being able to have some
Yeah.
in season
Neil
one,
the Eel Cuckman.
that they let him do a lot more
Yeah.
on season
Honestly,
2
they let him do more rewrites on his
on his own garbage story.
middling story. Yeah.
Which, if he was Robert Kirkman, that'd be fine because he's actually good at what he does. But Neil Druckmann
Sometimes.
isn't, and
Robert
that sometimes is just how it is.
So what's our overall ratings for season 2?
Should do the finale and then season 2.
Yeah, do your finale rating.
Finale
And then
this season. Okay.
Easy, what
Finale. I can give it a 3 out of 5. It's still The Last of Us. So it's better than it's
you got? I was
better.
about to say,
It's
I thought
better
that was
Three out of 10.
Yeah, okay.
because I can't give it a 4 and I can't give it a 5 because it didn't blow me away. And I also thought I would see
Okay.
Rat King this season and I didn't, so that made
We're
me
not
kind
gonna
of
see
bummed
that.
out.
Wasn't in the budget. It might not
Yeah.
even happen.
It might not. It won't. happen.
Don't do that to me, please. Don't
It
do this
might
to
not.
me. I already got to I got to see the bloater. I want the Rat King. But yeah, I'd say it's a 3 out of 5. It's The Last of Us, so it's still better than like some of the other bad shit we see.
Mhm.
But it's not up to the caliber of the whole season,
than
which
Young
the whole
Sheldon.
season of itself, seeing Belle Ramsey come into their own as the lead and Pedro Pascal taking kind of more of a back burner kind of approach. I might give this a 9 purely because Bella Ramsey, for being an actor that I've only heard of from season 1 of The Last of Us prior to this and being very impressive in that and being a supporting role, and then
You haven't
stepping
seen Game of
into being
Thrones?
the main person. I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I don't watch House of the Dragon.
Also, she was really minor in that.
True.
Yeah, they were.
But this is my first introduction to Bella Ramsey, at least as far as like the greater entertainment, and being able to take over a leading role from Pedro Pascal and being able to do so well to where I'm still as invested is incredible. So I got to give that a 9 because this is a promising performance from a promising young actor. That's it.
Big shoes to fill.
Valid. Hey,
Yeah.
Ryder, what you got, bro? As the resident game
Game
2
expert.
As the quintessential gamer.
the quintessential gamer, the lore expert.
The pro
Yeah,
gamer.
sure. Yeah, the pro gamer.
The pro
Played it
gamer.
on easy. Played it on easy. On anyway,
On undiable mode.
yeah, with all the modifiers active.
All sliders.
All sliders. I thought this was an okay finale. It really rubbed me the wrong way that Abby just shows up, and I feel like they're making the same mistake that they made with with the game, and not having their stories told congruently because they're fucking parallels. But I think it's a good episode. I got a little bored. I'm not gonna lie. I got on my phone and paused it because I'm not gonna get on my phone and not watch it because that is not cinephile behavior. And
That's right. That's rude.
I pause it and then I get on TikTok. So it's like
and then I finish the episode.
Yeah, it's like a 7 out of 10. I have issues with it. I think that everybody is doing their best. I think Owen is a shitty actor and fuck him. But I think Mel's a really fucking good. And I'm really sad that she dies because I think her
season 3.
Yeah, I think her begging for a cesarean is fucking heart wrenching.
That was a great,
I cried so hard. I thought it was
where
so
she's like,
good.
I don't know what to do. Oh my god.
She didn't take A&P. She doesn't know what transverse is. That's fine.
It means a cross.
Yeah, it means a cross for those who don't know. I thought that was beautiful. I thought that Ellie breaking down at that, at like not knowing the damage that she's causing and not realizing. And I think that's a good moment, but it would have been better if it was parallel. But yeah, it's 7 out of 10. I don't think it's perfect, but I'm really hopeful for the next season when we see it in 2 years after we're nuked to hell by China or whatever.
Russia.
Yeah, someone.
Someone
But
wants this.
yeah, they all want us.
They all want me.
I, fuck, I really like this show, and I have faith that Craig Mazin can step in and undo
Course
Neil
correct.
Shipman.
Druckmann's
Yeah,
horror.
can course correct
Yeah.
and can give us a good Abby season, because I think the main problem with Abby as a character is Neil Druckmann's writing. And if Craig, if you can get in there and fix the mistakes and make it not feel so forced, I trust you. I believe
That's the
you
thing
wrote
with
Chernobyl.
Druckmann.
You wrote Chernobyl, Craig. You wrote Chernobyl.
That's
Yeah.
it.
You can do it.
He's
He
got
feels
So-
more outlined than he is filled in the details kind of guy sometimes with his writing. That's what bums me
Yeah.
out about Druckmann.
I
yeah.
agree.
He's got
Yeah,
the
he is
archetype down.
pushing-
He just doesn't know how to
So
actually
the
flesh that out.
The show's an 8 out of 10. I love the backstory. I love how they took a note from a random armored car that you found and turned it into this
The
great, like,
backstory
origin
episode.
story for
Well, you
Isaac.
did have to see Josh Peck though.
I honestly didn't
Oh.
notice him. I didn't notice him, and that's
Good on you.
so
that,
look
Ah,
at
you-
that is a credit to Craig. I'm giving it to Craig. I think that this is a great show. I
You
think
got
that the
boom.
bones are really good.
Yeah.
There's a lot to build on, and so
Mhm.
long as they, force
Don't fuck it
Neil
up.
so long as they force Neil out as much as they can, I think that they can make an even better fucking season 3 and give us a season
Yeah.
4, maybe even a season 5, because
Hell yeah.
this show needs,
Give me Young Joel's Adventures.
honestly, give
It's
us
just him getting beat by his
give us
dad.
an Uncharted backstory, whole 3-season arc, 3-episode arc.
The Last of Us before the first
Give us a
bite.
test spinoff.
Yeah.
What's
The
she
first-
doing?
The First of Us.
the
first
bite. Yeah, I think that this show
Us.
has a lot of potential, and I'm really excited to see what they do. I hope that they don't disappoint me, because, like we said, I really like the game. I don't think that the game is bad. I think the main issue with the game is people complaining about a woman that they don't
Being
want to have sex
sexist.
with,
Yeah.
and they just don't know how to handle that. So they say it's shitty writing. It's not. It's not. There's some shitty writing, yes, but it's not the main issue. And I'm hopeful, and I hope that they do a good job on season 3. Because if they don't, I probably won't watch season 4.
I'll give
I think
the finale.
look.
I'll go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say, Gerardo. Hey, they told me Invincible would end up not good, and that Conquest fight turned me back to Sheeple. So who knows? Maybe season 3 will bring it
One
home.
episode. Shut the fuck
You're a
up.
fucking dumb bitch. Don't ever talk again.
I'll give this episode.
Everybody's
I'll give this episode a 7.5, and I
Yeah.
think that the season as a whole is a 8. I really
Yeah.
enjoy it. I
valid.
really like
Mhm.
it. Fuck it, man. I think it's great. I think it fucks. I'm in. And if I don't like any of the adaptive choices, I can just play the fucking video game like a big boy.
also valid.
Not too much. Not too much.
I'm
I
just
just
trying.
I just re-downloaded.
It's on sale on
Brother
PlayStation Store
Crybaby.
right now. I buy it.
It's really good.
But yeah,
Dude, it's really good.
that's valid. I agree. I'm actually right on par with Luis. I think this episode was a 7.5. And the season is definitely at an 8, maybe 8.5 if I'm feeling a little feeling frisky. But season 1 did set the bar really high. Season
Incredibly
1
high.
was phenomenal, and then I hate comparing it to comparing season 2 to season 1, because season 2 can still stand on its own.
Barely.
I think the episode with Joel and Ellie's backstory in Jackson
Beautiful.
saved it. It saved this season. For
Yeah.
me.
Well, you know what didn't save it? that Eugene storyline, but we can talk about that another day.
Episode 6, yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, that episode definitely saved it for me.
And you know what you know what the reason was? We had
Pedro.
Pedro. Yeah.
I told y'all the last episode, the last time we talked about Pedro on this show, bro, his facial, his eye work. Oh my fucking god!
Facial.
Give him the Emmy right now. Give him everything.
Me,
Tony,
Pedro,
It's
and
amazing
facials
how
can
much
go
better
together.
the Mandalorian got once he took his helmet off, and then how much
Give him
worse it got once he
Stop
just
it.
kept it on.
So I'm hoping season 3 is a return to form. I hope, like Gerardo said, I hope Craig Mazin is given the reins, put him in the driver's seat because
Please.
we need something to get back on track. It's not off track like bad, but it's like we need to just steer the boat. Steer
It's
the ship
swerving a
forward.
little bit.
Yeah. So I'm hoping season 3, and like I said, I hopefully by the time season 3 comes out, I've played game 2, so I'll know something.
I hope so. It's 2 years.
Yeah, I hope
know.
so too, bro. It came out like
How have
2
you?
years
I'm
ago.
surprised you still haven't played it. You have a
I'll
PS5.
give you my
Hey,
account
man.
and download it.
I got a job. I can't play shit.
Got him.
I can't play a damn thing.
He said,
You were just on
gold,
Rivals before we
gold
started
3
recording.
rivals.
He says as he's
You
almost
have the
Lord on
time.
They did
Rivals.
get your ass. They did get your ass there.
Said the Lord Scarlet
Hey,
Witch.
No lie, they did get your ass.
Hey man, but look how long it took me to get Lord. You know, when I played this game, it first came out. I'm just now getting Lord. By now, I should have loaded up like 6 characters.
None of my characters are lorded, so there you go.
See, we're employed.
I got 4 lords. I'm gonna just stay quiet.
Oh my
I'm
god.
just gonna.
What am I going to say? Got
I
him.
know. I'm not happy about it either.
We got him.
We got him.
And speaking of we got him, you guys just got another fantastic episode.
Nice,
Boy,
baby.
Excellent.
Lex B,
Beautiful,
Gerardo, AZ, and Luis
Okay.
signing off for the night. Go ahead and tap in with our boys over at Backstage OL. Follow the homies. They got all types of stuff coming up. Summer's here. Summer's already here. We got a lineup of films coming up. F1, Superman, Fantastic Four, First Steps,
Yeah.
Jurassic. Man, we're about to be busy.
Jurassic Mix.
You snuck that in there. You snuck that
Karate
in there a little
Kid.
bit. We don't care about that. We don't care about
Bombs
that.
versus Coughing Baby.
And then of course Predator Badlands, Predator Badlands.
Oh my god, June's about to be incredible.
When they started doing that Yacht chant, I felt something in my soul.
Huh?
I was like,
Listen to In My Jing on Spotify.
that shit's so hard, bro. Send me that. I need that. Speaking of sending something, send y'all's ass to AZ's page at Tari Single. Follow my boy. Tap in with him on the YouTube, the Instagram, and the Twitter, the Twitter.
I'm currently moving, so it's going to be a little while before a video is there, but it'll be there eventually. Probably you won't see this wall in about a week or two, but yeah.
Follow him now, so when the video drops, you're already locked in. And follow him on Twitch at twitch.tv/Tari Single for the streams. Once I get freedom from work, I'm gonna hop on with my boy and do some gaming.
Not on Rivals though, please.
Why not? Are you scared?
Lord Scarlet Witch, just now. I'm not playing with you, man. I'm sorry.
Man, he called you ass, man.
He called you a bitch.
Just because
I'm 3, I'm sorry.
Speaking of bitches, that's the end of this episode.
every day.
Y'all should get some.
Just because I'm clocked.
But before you get some bitches though, don't forget to follow us on all platforms at Cinestro Corp without the S.
No S.
Because legally we can't do that. We can't do that. Until Matt plays a character besides Scarlet Witch, we can't use the S. They told us.
Hey man, don't hate. I'm Cloak and Dagger now.
Oh,
Mashallah.
mashallah.
You've been Cloak and Dagger, and we've been the Cinestro Corp. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you guys later.
Good night.